Well, thank you guys so much to join our panel discussion on this special day, China's Youth Day. So today we are going to talk about the common issues and also some key trends for young people when they are looking for jobs, and also to discuss how to better solve these issues that they face, and hopefully inspire them a bit to find a job that they really want. So today we have Victoria Koo, co-founder and CEO of Scholar Network, Emma Ho and Sean Doherty, new media editors in China, and Mai Wulanjiang Tuersun, the IP founder of 开始浓眉哥. He has over 5 million followers and is famous for sharing all the delicious food in Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. His fans normally call him 浓眉哥, rather heavy eyebrows, very iconic, right? Welcome all, and could you guys briefly introduce yourself to our audiences? How about you, Emma?
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Emma. I'm from Malaysia and I am currently working in China.
Sean?
Hello everyone, my name is Sean Doherty and I'm from Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, and I currently work in new media here in China.
Thank you. And Vika?
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Victoria Hu. I'm Chinese Russian, and I grew up in Russia and been to China for the past 10 years. And currently, I lead the international youth community for SEO countries called Scholar Network, and I'm also part of the Global Shapers community, Beijing Hub, too. Thank you.
Thank you. And 浓眉哥?
我英语不怎么好，我直接用中文吧。
没事儿。
大家好，我是麦武兰江托尔顺，是来自于新疆喀什，中国最西部的一座城市，我是自媒体人。
So 浓眉哥 is from Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. Welcome to join us all. So today let's going to talk about the employment issue for those fresh college graduates and also those teenagers. Well, recently, I don't know whether you guys have seen such a news that a fresh master's graduate, he complained about that those average salary of around 5,500 yuan was too low, which has become a very trendy topic on the internet in China. How do you guys think of this? What do you value the most when looking for your first job? Anyone want to share? Sean?
I think I can start. Oh, okay.
Yeah, lady first. Emma.
Thank you. So I think I can share. I think in Malaysia, it's about the same as well. It's about like 5,500 renminbi. If you convert it into Malaysian ringgit, it's about the same, right? I think for me personally, when I was in my first job, it wasn't about what I start with. It's about where I can go from here. Like, is there a career progression? Is there a salary progression? Can I see, like, within this company, can I see someone that was in my position 5 years ago and where are they now? So looking ahead 5 years, where will I be within this company? I think for me, that was the biggest thing that I was looking at in my first job. But of course, at that salary range, there's a lot of other things that you have to take into consideration, right? Does the company offer you food? You know, like, is it catered three times a day or 3 meals a day? Is it catered? Is lodging provided for? There are a lot of factors apart from salary that we would look at, right? Like our other costs, like how much is our disposable income at the end of it? Is it 5,000 or is it actually like if you still have to pay for rent, if you still have to pay for food? So I don't think it's quite that simple, but obviously for me personally, career progression is more important.
Yeah, so like room for improvement is more important than just money, right? What about you, Sean? What do you see?
I would agree with all of the points that Emma's mentioned in terms of not perhaps what you're looking at now as you begin the position, but seeing the longevity of your career perhaps at that one particular company, seeing what other benefits it is offered, as well as also looking at the interlinkage between your previous education and how your current job can build on that education, so that there's a thread of consistency between what you've studied and what your previous experience is, and how that can build further with whatever career or job that you're doing moving forward. So I think I would agree with Emma, and also building on your academic background and your academic foundation to move yourself up. So I would agree with all of those points as well.
Yeah, because a career is a lifelong career. It's not just a step one. So what do you think, Vika? When you found your first job, what did you value the most?
Well, I think when I was looking for my job, well, I was never looking for a job, but when
Did
it
you
comes to
start
the
your
first
business
experience,
right after you graduate?
no, actually not right away, but I wanted to join a smaller company because what I value the most as a fresh graduate is the experience. And I think the key words here, one is experience, second one is skill set, and the third one is people. And people probably the first one, right? Those with whom you're going to be working on, whether you are going to start your own business or you are going to join as an intern or the employee, it's important to know who is the person supervising you and how much can you learn from that person. And I was lucky to learn a lot from my first boss or two partners that I was working with, and at the same time build up on my skill set, because this is something that, well, it's probably a bigger topic, but right now within the education system, you cannot really get up with your skill set. And as an employer, this is what you're looking for. You're looking for people with certain skill set, especially soft skills, not just the knowledge. And experience is really important. And I think when it comes to the first job, especially right now, since the market is becoming so competitive, being an undergraduate is already,高中大学毕业生, so what, right? So people are going for masters and PhD, but what does it mean? What are you going to do after that? Or what is the purpose of you doing if you're running for academia for the purpose of pursuing your career? So I think these are all of the questions that you have to be asking yourself. And I'm sure that we have our first panelists who will be sharing, but right now people have a lot of opportunities. You can become a new media person and you can be a 自媒体人, and then you basically you grow your own business, you grow your own brand. So a lot of opportunities, but at the same time very competitive market.
Yes, lots of opportunities, and but most important thing is to figure out what you really want the most.
Yes,
Just
exactly.
like Vika mentioned, many people became 自媒体 like 浓眉哥。我们在讨论就说，您当时找第一份工作的时候最看重的是什么？你最开始的时候就是做一个自媒体人吗？还是也是到别的地方去工作了？当时是怎么考虑的，浓眉哥？
然后我是18年开始做自媒体，当时我做自媒体的时候边工作然后边做自媒体的，当时我工资差不多在3、4千块钱吧，到现在挺好的。
So when Nomega just started his career at around 2018, he earned like about 3,000 to 4,000 yuan per month, renminbi. And now he started to run his own business as a new media person. 那您现在就是对比最开始的时候，你觉得当时是什么样的考虑让你决定就是做自媒体嘛？在当时最看重的是什么？
主要是18年那会儿，就是短视频特别火，然后我也特别喜欢拍摄。我以前就是摄影师，然后特别喜欢拍摄，也特别喜欢这个吃美食，然后把吃美食跟拍摄结合到一块儿，拍一些作品，然后就没想到网上就特别火，因为好多人对新疆的这些美食都特别感兴趣，像这个新疆的文化也是特别吸引人，然后就也是时代的一个红利吧，就是挺好的。
对，我也看了浓眉哥特别多的视频，真的看着就特别想吃，有很多特别就是美食，新疆的美食，然后他把这些美食带给大家。So Nomega used to be a photographer, and then he combined his major with what he wants to do to become a new media person, sharing all the delicious food in the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. Well, some people may find that their majors may maybe like nothing related to what they are doing now, but Nomega is like a luckier person. He is doing what he really loves. What about you guys? Have you guys have some experience like your major is nothing related to what you're doing now? Anyone want to share? Sean?
I think Sean can really share about this.
Yeah, Sean, please.
My major and my academic background is as a food scientist. So I qualified, all of my academic background is in science, in food science and product development. And after that, I originally worked in China in the ESL industry as an English teacher. I relocated back to Ireland. I worked in chemistry and worked as a project coordinator in Ireland. And now I'm working in new media here in China. So the variety of soft skills that I was able to develop over these various industries plays into my strengths now and is a really robust set of skills that I can bring forward with me into the new media work that I do here currently in Beijing. So, and then also it enables me to be challenged in many different areas and sectors that I feel I can overcome many challenges that come my way. So I've learned a huge amount of soft skills, of technical skills that play into my role today, and I'm grateful for it. So I've been able to work over many different industries early on in my career.
Yeah, that's so cool. It's like such a big switch. So how did you combine all the knowledge in like different sectors into one that you are currently working for?
In terms of, I think where my scientific background comes in, it enables me to analyze a wide variety of data or a wide variety of information at a very quick rate. In terms of my English teaching skills and being able to learn how to communicate effectively an idea over to a wide variety of people. So that comes into developing media that many people will consume and understand. So that plays in very well. And then the soft skills of project coordination, of organization, which has kind of been developed through my education, but then also the many professional roles that I've had afterwards. So the different skill sets that I've had up to now inform what I do now as well. And those many things come and aid me every day that I come into work.
Yeah, so like Korea is always a zigzag process. You gotta connect all the dots that you have. Yeah. So what inspired you to become a teacher and previously as a food scientist? I'm so curious.
So working as a food scientist, I've always had a passion about food, and I've always had a passion about creating food products that were healthy for people to consume and ensuring that the food products that people have available to them were always good quality and had favorable outcomes for the consumer. So whether it was better nutrition or safer for consumption, they were always very important. So when I finished my degree, I very much wanted to understand China greater as a society. And like many other foreigners that come to this country, I came originally as an English teacher and did my TEFL certificate and worked here for a year. And through that 1 year experience, I was being able to get a very good, solid, on the ground experience of this country, of its culinary culture, and all of the different elements that come together to create and to understand Chinese food and understand Chinese eating habits. So all of these different things, one fed into the other. My food science background informed my decision to relocate to China and also my decision to become an educator and teacher.
Yeah, I guess you and Nongmei may have lots to talk about. Like you both love Chinese food and Chinese culture. 农梅哥，刚刚我们上也才聊到说，他也是因为他之前是作为一个食物科学家，他也是特别喜欢这个食物。然后后来呢，他又喜欢就是中国的文化，所以他到了中国这边，然后还成为了一名英语老师。你们应该有很多可以聊的。你们在您在最开始的时候，就是因为你是这个摄影专业，然后怎么想到就是用摄影这个专业技能来结合到你现在在非常喜欢做的这个事情上？当时是怎么考虑的？就怎么实现这个转变的？
主要是还是喜欢，就是喜欢干这个事情吧。就是18年那会儿，自媒体刚起来，短视频时代在中国刚起来的时候，我们就赶上这趟火车，就是走起来了。然后当时我也刚才说的样，我也喜欢吃，也会拍摄，然后把两个东西结合到一块儿，各种不停的发作品，不停的发作品，然后就网上特别火，然后走到现在，就这样。就是没有什么就是刻意的去转变，主要是我喜欢。
So sometimes your major are not that important as your hobbies, just to find what you really love and find like where your passion is. And like when you started to find a work, is the city one of the elements that you are considering about? Do you guys prefer to work in big cities like first tier and second tier cities, or like those more smaller cities? Anyone want to share? Yeah, Vika.
Thank you. Well, I think when it comes to the cities, it's really interesting because when I just want to share a bit of the personal background as well, how I came to China, because that was the year of graduation from high school, and I studied in Russia. And as most of the 16, 17 years old teenagers, you don't really know what you want to study, right? And then my parents kind of helped me to make the important decision of, okay, go and learn the language properly, go back to the history, your roots, can understand China better. And when we were looking for the city, we chose Beijing. Not only because this is the capital, but also because this is where the opportunities lie. And I would always think in the terms of, if you go to a smaller city, then there might be more opportunities because you're coming from a certain experience and you're bringing it there, and then you can level up pretty fast. At the same time, if you go to a bigger city, then the competition is much higher, and you have to really put your game up. But maybe this is the challenging environment will help you to grow even faster, unless it becomes too juan.
Too juan.
But other than
too competitive.
Yes, exactly. So that's why I think it's really a choice of everybody. And it's the same if you go to a bigger scale of a country. If you go to the country which is already very developed or which is developing right now, this is where the opportunities lie. So I think it really depends on everybody personally and what kind of life you're looking for in terms of your career, whether you want a very established job or you want a more challenging one, and you want to try something new that nobody has done before. So it's really the choice of everybody. I would prefer big city for sure.
Yeah, anyone prefer big cities or smaller cities? And this is also an interesting topic. Is it less less competitive in those smaller cities? Like 浓眉哥 you are in 喀什 right? 浓眉哥您是在喀什那边工作对吗？就是有很多人觉得在大城市可能更卷，在小地方可能没那么卷。你觉得你是怎么看待这个？是真的又没那么卷吗？当时是选城市的时候是怎么考虑的？
我选城市的时候，就是选择这个工作城市的时候，主要是想留在我爸妈旁边，这样的话更有安全感一些。我想是，就算
这可能也是很多年轻人选择小城市的原因。
就算我这个创业失败，就算我怎么样，我还是能回到家吃一顿饭，就这样。我是这么想的，更有安全感一些，就是在父母旁边。
对，确实，这也是很多在大城市工作人特别羡慕的地方。So Nomega said he chose to go back to his hometown because he can be much nearer to his parents, and he can go back to his home to eat for dinner or any time that he feel happy or unhappy. And what about you, Emma? What are you currently at? Is it in Hong Kong or in Beijing?
Oh, I'm in Beijing already. Haven't seen you yet. But yes,
Yeah, I
I'm in
haven't seen you
Beijing.
yet.
So
why did you choose Beijing?
Why did I choose Beijing? I used to study in Beijing, so I did my master's at Tsinghua. I loved it, so I decided to stay on here. But I think in terms of city, it also depends what industry you're in. Like, for example, if you're a corporate lawyer, work in London is definitely going to be very, very different from work in Beijing or in Shanghai. Like, your capital systems are different, right? So there's that consideration as well, depending on the industry. Or if you're a vet, you want to be a farm vet. You wouldn't necessarily be a farm vet in, say, Hong Kong.
Yeah,
so it also depends on like your industry, your profession, and what you want to do in terms of choosing a city. So I think all of us would really like being closer to family. So I think I'm very envious of Nongmeiger for being able to do that. I would really wish that my parents were here with me as well. But yeah, I think when we're young, we can still hustle and we should keep going.
Yeah，就像浓眉哥，我们都很羡慕你，就是能离父母更近一些。我觉得 Sean 可能是离父母最远的了。Sean, I think you are the person most far away from your parents. What do you think? Why did you choose to work in China and in Beijing?
In Beijing, I love Beijing because I think isn't there the quote, if you want to go to Shanghai to understand 100 years of Chinese history, you go to Shanghai, and if you go to Beijing to understand 1,000 years of Chinese history, you come to Beijing. So Beijing has so many cultural places to visit and to understand the heart of this wonderful country that it was an excellent option for me to come to this city. And there's also excellent working opportunities as well. So being able to balance understanding where you are in this contemporary country that we all find ourselves in, but also being able to have great work opportunities as well. The balance of those two things was really the clincher for me to decide to come here and work here. So, but then I like smaller cities as well. Typically, smaller cities have a great accommodation for natural scenic areas that enable you to be both close in very close proximity to natural parks, etc., while also having your large skyscrapers and a heavy amount of urbanization. So both have balance. And also there's great green spaces here in Beijing, but there's lots of beautiful skyscrapers to look up at.
Yeah, so just different choices and to decide where you are, and you just choose what you are living. Yeah, and also like this year is also known as the most difficult year for employment, 2023. If you look at the data, the college graduates this year reached like around 11 million, an increase of 820,000 compared to last year. How do you guys feel about the employment competition this year? And also the ongoing pandemic that lasts for several years also intensified such a situation. What suggestions do you guys have for those young talents who are struggling to find jobs? Sean, do you want to share first?
I think in terms of leveraging one's background and also continually developing those soft skills that we were talking about earlier, in particular, one's ability to communicate and one's ability to stand out from the crowd. It's not heavily only about the length of one's CV in terms of accomplishments, but it's about how one can rationally communicate those accomplishments and one's skill sets and abilities to potential employers. That I think is very, very important and sometimes can be lost in the decision to get high grades, to graduate, to get onto the career ladder, that one also needs to think, how can I communicate my skill set? How can I communicate my ability over to prospective employers as well? So I think that needs to be heavily emphasized to current and in the future graduates to take into consideration.
And Avika?
Yeah, well, it's true that the competition is right now really high among the college graduates and the fresh graduates. And I would have just one suggestion on improving your skills as much as you can and getting experience not only within the classrooms, but also outside of the classrooms, and maybe even looking outside of the university, outside of the campus. I know it's not a comfortable environment and it's not your comfort zone, but only by doing so, you will get the skill set needed. You'll get to know people who are outside of your circle and environment, and therefore you can get more opportunities. And the second one will be in trying something new. And I think right now the industry with the short videos, the whole content creation is something that young people really tap into and really have a say. And this is what we really live in, the unique era where everybody can become a media person. I studied journalism, but then right now, in order to become a journalist or somebody who has influence and impact on people, you don't really have to study this, although this definitely helps. But right now with the internet, everybody should be working on content creation. This is what we always discuss among the youngsters, and try to kind of remind ourselves about this as well, that we look for opportunities, but we can also become creators.
Yes, so do more internship may help, and also like do more content creation works. This may be what Nomega is very good at. Nomega 我们今年就是被称为被很多人说是这个最难的就业季。您对这个就是您身边的朋友有什么样的这个找工作的故事让你印象深刻的吗？然后对于这些就是在挣扎着找工作，就非常努力想要找到工作，但是很难找到工作的毕业生，您有哪些方面的建议？
确实，现在找工作确实特别难，但是我也是现在的，我也是当时我找工作第一个月工资是1800块钱，我记得特别清楚。但是我现在干到月收入几十万，就是一步一步过来的，是毕业了以后觉得，哎，我是大学生，怎么样怎么样，我的学历怎么样怎么样，然后到工作单位以后，把自己放特别高的位置，然后就可能就是有一些冲突吧。然后就，其实我觉得你要喜欢这份工作，不管这个工资待遇怎么样，你先干，你先干出一些成绩以后，这个工资也会慢慢会涨，慢慢这个钱就慢慢会变多，因为你创造的价值更多，你得到的就更多。我就是这么想的。
Yeah, so the more you create, the more you can be paid back. Nomega said that previously he earned like about 1,800 yuan at the beginning after he started to look for jobs, and now he can earn like several hundred thousand yuan. So you don't have to just look at the money at first. You don't have to pay too much attention just on the money. You need to think about what you really want to do and to seek for room for your improvement. And the better you are at, the more you can earn. And do you guys have other suggestions to share for our young people who are struggling to find jobs? Emma, do you want to share?
So I think it's easy to find a job. I think it's hard to find a job that you want and you like. I think one of the struggles for people is knowing what they like as well. So I do agree that it's very, very important to do internships. I started doing internships at quite a young age. I started when I was like 15. But personally, that's something that I've always been curious about. People say that I like workplace interaction. I was always very curious about how things work, how different industries work. So I've done my internships in the public sector, the private sector, even in like charities. So to me, it was really important to find out what different things are, how different things work, and what I like, right? And I think you have in an ideal situation when the job market is good, maybe you can get from A to B right away, right? I am a graduate now, and I want this. So when conditions are not as good, you probably can't get to from A to B straight away. But what is the midpoint? How do you get to B? How do you not differ from the track that you want to go? I think it's very important to strategize your choices in that manner. Like it's difficult to find a goal for sure, but it is very helpful to find a goal that can lead you on, especially when things aren't as certain right now. But also don't be afraid to try new things, accept challenge. That's what I would like to advise young people today.
Yes, I totally agree. It's like it's not a one-step thing. You know what
Yes.
you want to do, but you can't achieve it like right after after you graduate, right? And you've done so many different types of internship. How do you think that those young people can learn some new knowledge, or what they should pay more attention to while they are doing internships to help them find a job after they graduate?
I think the main point is curiosity. You need to be curious about the world. You need to be curious about how things work. All I like to say that there's no useless knowledge. Everything you learn will be useful at some point. It might not be useful to you now, but it will be useful to you at some point. And I also agree with like Nomega that you have to like what you do. When you like what you do, everything will fall into place. Like it might not seem like, oh, like he said he had a career transition right into 自媒体, but then for him it was almost like 理所当然. It's like it was something that should have happened, right, for him. So as long as you're doing what you like to do, as long as you're staying true to yourself and what you want to do, I think everything just falls into place. But obviously, be curious, always be willing to learn. And I think one of my hiring managers once said, okay, honestly, experience is not that important. The most important thing is your attitude. Are you willing to learn?
Yes, keep being curious about what you are passionate about. And if you are doing good enough, then you can be transitioned more smoothly to what you really want to do. And this year is also, just like Vika just said, it's very very competitive. The number of masters and doctoral graduates also largely increased this year. The figures combined surpassed that of undergraduate students in Beijing, right here in Beijing. So do you guys think a higher education level is more important to finding a good job? And how do you view the influence of education level on work? Anyone want to share? Vika?
I'll say something about this.
Okay, Emma.
Okay. So my first degree was in philosophy and economics. And when people hear this, they say, "What do you do as a philosopher?" So I did my master's in business journalism, and now I work in business news. And actually, everything kind of just ties in. Philosophy, I did a lot of literary work, and then economics kind of gave me a foundational knowledge to the type of news that I do now. And I did my master's at Tsinghua in China. So for me, I came to do my master's because I was curious about China. But I felt like if I came here to work right away, I might not be able to adjust. I might not be able to settle into societies, assimilate so quickly. So I think studying, if you have the opportunity to further your studies somewhere you might want to pursue a career or your life, in the future, I think it's a very good idea. But whether or not it makes any difference to my salary or actual tangible job aspects, I don't think it does, very honestly speaking.
And Vika, what do you think?
Well, I agree with Emma, and I also want to add on top of that it's really important to understand in the piles of information that we get today, if you are going further with your master's or PhD, especially PhD, it's a huge commitment, then you have to understand and know what is it that you're looking for. Because undergrad, we're just almost blindly, right, studying all of the compulsory and other courses that we are assigned to. But master's and PhD and MBA, these are all our choices. And if you make a choice to go and commit your time for that, then you have to know, okay, I'm looking for resources, I'm looking for knowledge, I'm looking for specific direction, because I want to be doing that in the future, and not because I don't know what to do with my life and I'm just gonna go and continue with my studies until I find something. So this is really important. And going, like, sometimes I feel that students make the choice of going for master's or PhD because it feels comfortable to be on campus. It feels comfortable to be with the surroundings that you know and you have. And this is always a safe choice of, okay, I can go, and if I don't succeed somewhere there, I'm always a student, right? So I have that tag, that label. But it's important to also get yourself out there, understand what you want, and then perhaps come back to school with a more clear purpose and direction. So, and this is something that I am going through as well right now by having master's degree and thinking whether to pursue studies further or not. So this is something that I've been thinking about as well and discussing with a lot of friends recently.
Yeah, so it still go back to the topic, like you got to be clear about what you really want to do. It's not like you are not having a job that you are very satisfied with, and you said like, oh, okay, I will just continue, my study to get a master, to get a PhD.
Yeah. And also, Juju,
Mm-hmm.
if I may add, just on top of what we discussed before, so we were discussing from A to B, right? The path is not direct, but sometimes understanding what you don't want is also important.
Yes, true.
Right? You go and you're like, I don't like it. It's okay. So you pursue something new. Yeah. Please.
Yeah, I remembered my first major was actually accounting, but then after I did my internship at a accounting firm, I knew that, oh, that's not what I want, and then I just everything about accounting. I think that's a very good point too. Some people after they graduate, they may not know what they really want, but they are probably very clear about what they don't want after they gain some social experiences. 浓眉哥，我们现在在聊着，就说，今年的这个在北京的这个硕博的人数啊，首次超过了本科的毕业生。你觉得就是学历对于大家找工作来说重要吗？然后对于你在工作里面的有什么样的影响？你有什么样的感受？
学历对工作我觉得也挺重要的，但是我们公司，我就说一下我们公司吧，就是可能
你是
我们公
老板对
司，
吧？
对，我公司还有10个人左右，但是我公
Oh, so
司
he's the owner of a company that have 10 employees. 您说，
2个本科生，其他都是大专，但是
嗯
他们每个月收入都是7、8千起，7、8千起。他们因为他们对公司创造的价值越多，他们就回报越多，就是这样。现在学历很重要，学历很重要，但是我比起学历，我觉得更重要是你后面上岗了以后，你找到工作了以后，能不能正儿八经创造一些价值，正儿八经在社会上能不能做一些事情。可能有些人可能就是没有太大的一个学历，什么可能本科都不是，但是他在社会上正儿八经的能好好工作，能好好生存，能好好挣钱。但是学历，我觉得我们在大学里面最大收获，除了学到一些东西以外，就是最大收获就是人生就是有一些交际，有一个比较高端一点的一些圈子，这个我觉得很重要。
高端一些的圈子是说在读书的时候可以认识一些跟你就是比较志同道合的一些人，是吧？
志同道合这些人，对，这个是我觉得特别重要的一些事情，因为这些人影响着我们后面的这些生活，后面这些人生，可能就是价值观呀、人生观呀这些东西，我们可能会都受到他们的影响。我周围都是这样，我大学出来的好多朋友都在创业，都在搞自己的一个事业，然后我就跟他们在一块很舒服，然后一起做一些事情这样。
就可以又互相学到很多，然后一起进步。
对。
Yeah, that's a very good point. So Nomega just said that those people or like your classmates that you meet while you are doing your education level, that they may mean a lot to you even after you graduate and to work in a new place. 你们就是您刚开始创业的时候，就是当时的那些同学，就是有没有一些志同道合的人给了你们就是一起的一些帮助？就有没有什么样的感受？因为您当时说觉得就是同学朋友在这个对你来说也很重要，志同道合的一些这种圈子。
肯定啊，肯定给我一些动力啊之类的，就是
有没有一个例子跟我们分享？
就是你在这群创业的人当中，你真的没有办法不努力，就像一个赛道一样，我们同时跑，看谁能跑得越快越好，就这样。
大家都在互相比是吗？
对，我感觉还挺有意思的，这个一个过程还挺有意思的。然后有些资金不够啊之类的，中间资金不够啊之类的，他们都会帮我这样。
Because you also started your own business. What inspired you to start your business? And do you agree with Omega, like those classmates or friends that you have at that time really also helped you a lot?
Yeah, for sure. So the reason why was Scholar actually was not originally planned to become a full-time. It was something that I started doing my master's with a friend as well, not from the university network, but still kind of from those times. And then today we have this huge community with people from all the different countries and hubs based in different cities of the Eurasia and kind of Europe and Asia. That's part of the world, let's say. And a lot of the people, especially those whom we started with, came from the university network. and we still work together. And I'm really grateful for that, because it's really hard to keep in touch if you study together and then you graduate and you go your own ways. But once you have something that you do in common, whether that's on a full-time or part-time or project-based, some sort of collaboration, then you have the most important element that is hard to find once you are out of the university, and that element is trust, because trust is the hardest to build. But once you have it during your university years, and this is why I am so inspired every day with the work with young people, whether it's scholars full-time or global shapers as a volunteering commitment, because when you work with young people, you work with those who have ideas, then you automatically connect people with the same set of values. And if projects that we are working on will one day become somebody's full-time startup, or you'll bring it to your next job opportunity, that's amazing. That's the goal. So yeah, definitely, I think your network defines a lot from who you are, and that's why the saying is, tell me who your friends are, right? And I'll tell you who you are. Yeah.
Yes, those network definitely helps. And when you started to do your business, what kind of support have you received either from the government or the institutions? And what are some other support that you wish to have from from the government or some institutions?
Well, first of all, since we work with the SCO region, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and that's the biggest trans-regional international organization in the world right now, we were lucky to have support from its secretariat back in 2017-18. And that was, for me, the moment of, oh, those diplomats who are really high up there, the ambassadors, they believe in what young people have to say, and they at least, well, they give us a chance, right? They give us a platform, and whether we would be able to actually do something and form real content with that platform was really up to us. But I think that's one support that really helped us to grow further. The second one is definitely in people and the network that we had, whether there were friends from the university or there were friends, but the expat community in China, since we started in Beijing, was really big before the pandemic, right? There were a lot of foreigners and a lot of people coming from all the different countries, and we really formed a huge community, and that really helped as well. And from the institutional level, we started to work with the universities that we were most familiar with. So since right now we focus on cross-cultural education, the first university that we collaborated with was Tsinghua University, because this is where I did my master's, and it was really, I was grateful to receive support from the teachers and from the school. So yeah, and right now it's just all of the struggles and hustling every day, trying to find our business model and making it also grow as a community, but at the same time make it sustainable. I enjoyed this journey. I'm really grateful to all of the mentors and mentorship support that we've received over the years, the past 6 years. It's been 6 years.
Yeah. So it's still like what Nomega said, those networks really helps, right?
Sure.
Those people in the Tsinghua University also helped you when you started to do your startup there. So after you guys been working for several years, what do you value the most now? And what kinds of job do you desire if you are like considering changing another job or like planning for your career? What do you value the most now compared with like after you graduated?
For me personally, the thing that I value the most is the challenges that come from a day-to-day of my job, in terms of the challenges of understanding the global environment that we all are a part of, and understanding that to rationally communicate that to viewers. That is a huge challenge, but it's also a huge opportunity for growth, for intellectual growth, to be able to have a wider understanding of the world around you. So for me, I'm very comfortable in the position in the job that I am now, but it also brings us challenges every day that enables me to grow as a person, grow as a young person in this world. So for me, it's the challenges that come with the day-to-day workings of my job. But I'm very grateful for them, because they make me more broad-minded as an individual, and enable me to have more connections with the people around me.
Yes, so challenge means room for growth, right?
Yes.
It's not
yes,
just challenge, it's also opportunity for you to grow.
Absolutely.
And what do you think, Emma?
Well, I just started my current job, so
Yeah, and yeah. Also, you just graduated, or you've been?
no, I graduated in 2020, and then I was working a bit before coming back to Beijing.
Uh-huh.
So because I've just started my current job, I think that, I'm still learning. There are a lot of new things to discover, explore. And I am enjoying being back here in Beijing right now. So far, so good. Um, yeah, so I don't really have that much to say.
Yeah, and many young people may like constantly switching their jobs. How do you see such a phenomenon? And when do you think is the right moment for young people to like seriously consider, should I need to continue my current works or switch to another job?
Yeah. So I think this is completely normal now.
Yeah.
And I also used to work for a while for like an HR software kind of company. So the HR was something that I was looking into for a while, right? And the question is recruitment and retention. First of all, people who are good at what they do will always have better opportunities. If you want to keep the people that are good at their jobs, then you have to consider, how do I keep people within the company? So right now, it's easier for people to find new jobs, and it's easier for new jobs to find your people that you have. It's a two-way street. I think it's very important, first of all, to be able to identify the talents, to be able to identify the people that you want to keep. And how do you empower these people to reach their fullest potential when they're with you? So I think it's completely fine for young people to look at other opportunities, because that means, because we always want to move forward. It doesn't mean that, there is no loyalty. I think we live in like an increasingly individualistic society, but it's fine. It's okay to put yourself first and put what you want first, because behind you, you also have family, right? It's not just it's not as individualistic as it seems. Kind of, everyone has their own burdens, everyone has their own struggles. So for bigger companies and for smaller companies as well, is the most important thing is how to retain your talents, I think. Yeah.
Yes, and what about you, Vika, as a CEO of a company? Maybe you have some like new perspective. How do you see the phenomenon that some young talents may frequently switch in their jobs?
Well, CEO is the title that's easy to get if you're starting your own company. But I think that from that perspective, from what I've observed within our company, having a lot of interns as well, is the fact that people are sometimes not really sure what they want to do. And sometimes students are coming from the mindset of, oh, I just need to complete the internship because this is what people do, and I have to start as early as possible. And sometimes we have those who are 19 years old, they're just their second year, and that is the time where I feel the responsibility of hiring anyone, whether as an intern or full-time or part-time, to, well, you're responsible for that person. It's at a certain level. And I would say that, no, right now you focus on your studies, because you have to, this is what you got to do. And you go for internship later. But I think people are switching jobs because one, we have too many opportunities again. And at the same time, the market is just too competitive. So the insecurity that I can see some students and youngsters have today is coming from the fact that, oh, I'm not sure what I really want, or maybe I want to do everything, but at the same time, I only have 24 hours. So how can I be here and there and fill up my resume, right? But it's not about filling up your resume and then said, and I really admire your job. 就我特别尊重你现在农威哥刚才说的那一句话，就是你团队里的人 ，it's really important for everybody to be on the team. And if you're here, no matter whether you're here for 3 months as an intern or for 3 years, you gotta put yourself in it and really dig into it and be more proactive and think and make decisions. And this is what one of the mentors that I have and really respect have been telling me recently, that the most important skill for young people to teach young people is the fact that we have to make decisions. And if we're able to make decisions, then we're able to pursue what we want and do the changes. And if you want to change your job, that's your decision. But do you know where you are going with that? That's a different question. So I don't have an answer, just pulling in more questions.
Yes, just feel free to explore, but at the same time, you have to be like in it to
Exactly.
really be serious about what you're doing now and be clearer about what you really want to do.
Exactly.
And
Mhm.
yes, and you also mentioned like those around 20s, like what we call the post-00s, 00后. There's also a very hot topic on the internet in China too. The phase that the post-80s are working overtime to obey their leaders. The post-90s are pretending to be fishy, and the post-00s are fighting hard to rectify the workplace. What do you guys think of this? Like the 00后在整顿职场。浓眉哥，您是怎么看的？就是对于这个网络热议的这个话题，
其实我们公司除了我以外，全是00后，
都是00后，哇哦，好年
全是
轻。
00后。然后我们公司也没有什么太大的一个什么公司规矩啊之类的，他们想什么时候上班就什么时候上班，但是你就把一天的工作给我干完成就可以了。但是我们没有什么早晨打卡的这种习惯啊。但是这种模式对00后还是，就是来我们公司的人只有我们开除的，但是没有就是自己离开的。
自己走的是吧？
对对对，这现在00后的思维模式跟不一样，你不能拿个框子把他框住，不行，必须得给他一个特别大的一个空间，让他自己发挥。然后我们
所以浓眉
现在以前我们公司遇到一些问题，现在我亲自去帮他们解决了，后来直接扔给他们自己去解决，这样的话他们成长速度也特别快。现在我们公司就像刚才说那样，就2个本科了，其他都是大专，但是他们现在干活的这个技术含量呀之类的，特别有这种创造的这种创新的一些能力。培养出来的，都在公司我们互相学习、互相培养出来的一个，这种模式，不知道我对不对，但是我们公司就是这样，没有早班就是早晨上班打卡呀，下班打卡，但是他们可能有些时候，北京时间12点上班，对，但是他们晚上下班可能就是11点、12点了，
是给了
就很
足够的
自觉，
空间给他们去发散这个创造性。
对，很自觉，很自觉，现在。
嗯。So Nomega just said that he would like to give more room and space for his young employees to have those creativity. They don't have to like be at there like 9 in the morning or a specific time to leave, but they just have to get things done. 那您对这个00后整顿职场有这个体会吗？就是您身边的这个00后的同事会有一些就是比方说更勇敢的说，我不想要做这个工作，或者我现在不想加班，有这种情况吗？
有啊，零
嗯。
零后还是很任性的，有的，但是你就给他说明白就可以了。这份工作就是这种工作环境，可能整个喀什就在我所在那个城市，他去别的公司可能找不到这种的工作环境，找不到这种的他喜欢的这种工作类型。又说我们给的工资也不低，然后给他一说他就明白了，还是得干。其实
就给
我们
的钱不
公司，
低，所以一说就明白了。
对，因为我做的公司也没有说，哎，我是老板，你是员工，没有这种关系的。我就是给他们创造一个平台，就是创造一个平台，让他们自己去发挥，让他们自己跑一些市场，让他们自己，做一些事情。我只是作为一个背书， 就是他后面那个人，但是其他的我就扔给他们去做。有些时候我们90后做事还不如00后他们快，就是他们创新能力还是很厉害的。对，有些我谈不了的客户，他们一过去就谈掉了。
很厉害。So Nomega said he is providing a big platform for those young people to work and also to have those creativity to be unleashed. Well, Vika, you also runs a company. Do you have also like those post-00 employees? What do you see there, like rectifying the workplace? How do you see this?
Well, we don't have, we have interns who are 90后and 00后, and to be honest, I agree with what Nomega just said, that the ones who are younger, they are more creative. And as much as I want to always be in the space of youngsters, I feel there's a bit of Daigo there.
Daigo, a gap? What is the gap?
There's a gap. There's a gap when it comes to the attitude to work, because I think what the 00后, the post-zero, what they're looking for is more flexibility, and they are more creative. But I think at the same time they need a bit more of well, probably because I'm from the 90后school, right? But I think a bit of a certain regime or certain standards or rules should apply to everybody. Because if you don't have discipline, then your creativity is just flying here and there, and it's not becoming really a certain reality, whether that's a content or an event or something, a project that you want to be doing. So I feel that there is a bit of, there is gap, but I feel that what 90后and the ones who are, let's say, in their 30s, right, can bring to the table is, okay, we have experience working for several years. We have our understanding of the market and we know where we're going. So we're more clear about the direction and the goal and the strategy. While the ones who are younger are the ones who can make the pathway. And I feel that before, at least when I was doing my internship, it would be more of a, okay, you have to do this task and then you're just doing this task. Whether as of today, when I am saying there is a task that we need to do, and this is the reason why, because you're not just doing the translation, we're going to use this for a certain purpose, and this will go to a certain place, which will help us achieve certain goal. So when you explain the whole chain, then everybody understands that they are important. And for me, what I'm trying to do, at least in our work environment, is also have this partnership and kind of community type of vibe where everybody can bring something on a table. The question is whether you are bold enough to really make that decision, because once you say an idea, you have to be responsible for that idea. So that's the attitude that we have. And if you're not saying this and you're just blindly doing the tasks, then you're not going to grow. So I feel it's like I have a sister who is 13 years younger than I am, and I feel that parents are very different in fostering our like not fostering, but in growing us, right, in the education. Because if you're 4 years old, okay, you explain to that 4 years old kid why this is right and why this is wrong. So it's very different, and it just takes more communication.
Yeah, just like Vika and Omega said, it just takes more communication to explain to them 好好的解释，跟他们说 why this task is so important. So once, well, they are more creative and they may be more efficient as well. And if they have like a better attitude or just to get the things done. But some say like they are more dare to say no to their bosses. Like sometimes we may really want to say that, oh, I don't want to do this. It's like maybe like 11 p.m. in the evening. They are more brave. They are braver to say no. How do you guys see this? Have you guys met such a situation before? Sean?
Yeah, I definitely think as you were saying, like the 80s, 90s, and 2000 generation, I feel like as it goes on, the younger generations get braver and braver and braver to feel that they've got a wide variety, as much as there's difficulty in finding job opportunities that lead to other places, that younger generations are a lot braver to go to management and say, that's not in my contract, or I'm not going to be participating in that particular project because it is outside my regular permit of hours. While 80s and also partially in 90s generation, you would also say, I will do that even though it's 11 o'clock at night, not a problem, not a problem, not a problem. So there is a greater sense of bravery to an extent, but you also want workers that have a degree of flexibility, that if there is something outside of a regular hours of work, that you still feel that you can come to them and ask them, would you mind doing this? And I think this goes back to an earlier point of conversation about, number one, what is the end point of this particular job, or what is the end point of this particular responsibility? And also emphasizing to that worker that you are a key part of that job as a whole, that you have a very strong role in whatever responsibility it is or whatever job it is, to ensure that that individual knows that what they do is important. And I think for many bosses, Victoria, you probably know this through your employment of others and working with others, that if you can emphasize to other people that the work that you do is important and it's valued, and even if it's outside regular hours, etc., that individual is far more likely to say, that is not a problem, I will do it for you. So it's about ensuring that for employers that you are also external and benefits, that on a soft level, that you were saying, I value what you do for this business, I value what you do for this company. And in turn, they will more likely say, no problem, I will edit that article at 11 o'clock at night, even though I want to go to sleep.
Yes, true. It's like you gotta understand why this task is so important, and then at the same time, you can be creative. You can well, we hope that we can have more flexibility in works. So if we can combine all these things, I think that would be a much better environment that we can look forward to in the future. And Sean, when did you started to find a job in China? Is it easy, or what are some challenges that you met?
I think originally, when I originally came to China in 2018, the job market was quite open when it came to English teaching opportunities. So the availability of that was very easy to slip into that market. But I think since due to many a variety of reasons, from policy changes, ensuring that children have access to a childhood of freedom that isn't constantly about educational preoccupation or moving ahead educationally, but they also have time to be children, that those policies have kind of slightly shifted that industry. But since then, I suppose I've left myself open to the opportunity of coming back to this wonderful country, and through that, then I somewhat, in an interesting way, got the job that I have now. It's not I've returned to this country in a very unique way that wasn't through a traditional job search sense, but there is still great opportunities to be had, and certainly that if you open yourself to those opportunities, you will find opportunities. They'll open themselves to you too. So in a sense, I am unique because I didn't look for the job online in a traditional sense, but had I looked online, I most likely could have found alternatives that would be similar, that would have given me a great deal of opportunity in this country. But no doubt with some degree of hardship and having to work very hard. But yes, there is opportunities there, and I found them, and many other people who look at this broadcast today and into the future will find them too.
Yeah, and after working in China for these years, what are some suggestions that you would have for those foreigners that would really want to work in China?
学习很多的中文。 learn lots of Chinese.
Vika is laughing. Do you agree?
Absolutely.
So learn, it's about, you know, adjusting your linguistic level, your communicative level, polishing off your resume, quoting what Vika was talking about earlier, ensuring you have sound educational background, that you have a great deal of non-educational experiences, internships, work opportunities that all add to that thread or all add to that timeline, that all fit the job that you're looking for within China. So there's a lot of different elements that come together, but with your language abilities, with your work abilities, with your experiences, as well as also building connections, whether you're working in the English educational system here or otherwise, it's all about developing those relationships, developing guanxi, and just ensuring that you've got a sound basis in all aspects of your life. And also to circle back into something that Vika said earlier, which I feel is very, very important, and our wonderful social influencer from Xinjiang will say as well, it's all also about the emphasis placed on your personal online brand and how people brand themselves online on a personal level. I think moving forward for younger generations, that can't be stressed enough in terms of any of your social media networks, your Douyin, anything else that you're publishing online, you're publishing part of who you are. You're publishing part of your personality, you're publishing part of your interests. So whenever anyone clicks publish on a post, they really should understand I'm asserting my voice into the world, and this is how the world will also see me and will see my voice.
Yes. So do better works in your branding. Whatever you post is also showing to other people what kind of person you are. And what about Vika? What are some suggestions that you would have for foreigners who want to work in China?
Well, learning Chinese is definitely important, and understanding China, because the language is the best way to do that. But also I feel the difference of China before COVID and today. Before COVID, I would see the Institute of Confucius, China Government Scholarship, and a lot of investment for foreigners, whether they are foreigners as non-Chinese, right? Whether they're in China or outside of China, to learn the language, to learn Chinese. And that attracted a lot of people, also because of the rapid economic growth of the country, for sure. But I feel that today, for an expert, a foreigner, to really find a good job and set their foot in China, they have to be really talented, and talented in the sense that they have everybody. It's not in the sense of education, but or where they come from, but in the sense of what can you bring on the table. Because hiring foreigners, even like I'm a foreigner here and I have a company, and I think twice before hiring a foreigner, because hiring foreigners in China, it's such a big responsibility for any Chinese companies or China-based companies, comparing to hiring somebody who studied abroad, right? Before it was, oh, they have the international mindset. Right now, a lot of Chinese also studied abroad. They all have the international mindset. So what is it that you can bring on the table? And I feel that the filtration, or let's say the kind of automatic system, like not automatic, but the whole system is different right now, and it's not easy right now for before. A lot of people would come for just the part-time jobs and they would be okay with that. Right now, it's not the case anymore. And you really have to know why are you coming to this country and what can you bring on the table. So if you're not talented enough, if you didn't really put your game up, then it's really hard to set your foot here. This is what I feel recently, at least.
You mentioned about like hiring a foreigner in China means more responsibility. So what are some like support, maybe like to provide more convenience, to introduce them to China, or what are some other methods that you would hope the government can offer for foreigners who want to work in China?
You know, this is a really good question because right now, local government, every single province has their own policies. They and there are a lot of competitions happening that attract international startups as well. I feel that the biggest gap that we have here is the information gap. Because people don't really know where do you go for that information. If you want to set up your own company, what and policies are different in terms of the tax and everything, right? In every single province, and depending on also on the industry that you work on. And I feel that the highest and the biggest gap that we have right now is the information gap. The policy is getting there, but the world outside of China doesn't really know about it. And this is what we talk about a lot during all of the meetings and conferences, but it's something that would be great to set up in English at least, and have people from inside China who will be able to answer and kind of follow up in English as well. So this is kind of the biggest gap that I see right now, because the system is there, the infrastructure is there, but we just need the mechanism to make it moving. You know, we need a bit of fuel.
Yeah, to help them figure out more conveniently how to get those things done. And what about you, Sean? What kind of support that you hope that the government or other institutions can offer for foreigners who want to work in China?
I think, interestingly, something that Victoria plugged on a few minutes ago was the ability of particularly in the pre-COVID level, the emphasis on, say, scholarship programs and ensuring that there is a wide opportunity of financial assistance or scholarship programs to enable foreigners to come into this country and understand the culture from the mind frame of being in the country studying it. Culture immersion, as well as the study element, is always the best way to fully grapple with this wonderful, expansive, and highly complex society that we all live in. So that's one element of it. Of course, going back to that again in terms of language, in terms of language opportunities for scholarships or financial assistance in that way, as well as particularly, I think it is getting better year on year. It is getting better, but just in terms of perhaps the bureaucratic elements of enabling foreigners to work in the country and ensuring that that can be as streamlined and as efficient as possible for everyone, both whether it's the officials working here in China to secure those contracts or secure those opportunities, as well as for the expertise of international people coming in here. So from the educational background to also streamlining policies or streamlining the methods by which to get people in, I think that they both can, if we can make those better or make them more optimized is the particular word, I think that that would be very, very good. And then also it's about when you're in the country, it's enabling Westerners or foreigners in whatever capacity to interlink with individuals from their own country and being able to cultivate opportunities with individuals in, say, Beijing, Shanghai, of local residents, but also with foreign bodies and foreign committees, particularly for on a personal level. For me at the moment, it's about engaging with the Irish community that works here in Beijing, and perhaps in the future developing opportunities that include both local talent as well as Irish talent too.
Yeah, we hope that there can be more international communities and also like new methods supporting foreigners who want to work in China. So today we will talk about some ways to help young people to find a job that they really want to do, and also like to have better careers, and also like talk about the issues that they are facing now. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Emma, Sean, Vika, and Nomega, thank you guys so much for joining us and for your brilliant ideas. We hope that our panel discussion has inspired those young talents and those teenagers, maybe just a bit at least, to help them find a job that they really want to do in the future. Thank you guys so much. And this is really a lifelong topic for each one of us, right? So just take your time, and bye for now.